Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. This is Zach over at NV Woodworks. So today's quick tips video is all about heating molds for resin casting. So stay tuned, let's get on it. Alright, so heating up molds for resin casting. Why would you need to do it? I have a couple of reasons that I do it. When I'm pouring very small amounts of resin, like for instance these 2-bin castings, I usually heat up the mold. It helps the resin cure a little bit better, having that warmer temperature. Another reason would be if you're in a kind of a cooler climate, it would definitely help to heat up your molds. Again, that's going to help the resin cure. Now, on the other hand, I also heat up all of my block molds. So the square molds for pen blanks or for like bottle stoppers, things like that. The things that have corners, basically for square ones. What you'll find is if the mold is kind of cool already, the corners are going to kind of suck back in your casting. And I've gotten a lot of questions asking me, you know, is the resin shrinking or like what causes that? And it's actually just because the corners of your mold are cooler and the resin likes, you know, the warmth. It's going to like a warmer temperature. What's happening is the resin is actually, it's not shrinking, it's creeping towards the center, which is the warmest part of your entire pour. So heating up the mold, having it kind of warm all the way around, that is going to definitely cut down, if not eliminate, those that I call it corner creep. All right, so now that we've talked about a couple of reasons why you would heat up molds, let's talk about how to do it and what temperatures. So I just use a toaster oven. It's actually sitting right behind me there. I pop my molds in the oven and it's set for 200 degrees. Now, generally, I'm usually using these HDPE molds. That's what I use the most. And it's kind of set for that. And the way that I have mine set up, I'm usually mixing and preparing the resin before pouring it for about, on average, 15 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes in general. And so at 200 degrees at 15 minutes, these molds are generally perfect. They're all, you know, heated all the way around and ready to rock. Now, when I'm doing very small pours in these like 2-bin molds, the P-Town subbies, I usually heat these guys up for 30 minutes in that same oven at the same temperature. I'm going for warm. I want this thing as warm as possible, and 30 minutes seems to be about the right amount of time. Now, for you, it may depend on, you know, your temperature in the shop and other things, maybe the resin you're using. I would kind of maybe play with it, but in general, if you're looking for a recommendation, I would go somewhere between 150 and 200, maybe up to 220, depending on what resin you're using. And again, it's going to kind of depend. I mean, you can kind of tell when it's ready, it's going to be nice and toasty. You know, you don't want it to be like scalding hot though either. So I would probably just kind of play with it. Like I said, 185, 180, that's probably a pretty good temperature to put it at. And, you know, 15 to 20 minutes in the oven, you should be probably good. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention is most resin manufacturers have some information on their website, or they know if you call them, or it's even in the directions for the resin. You know, some suggestions on heating up molds. I've seen it in quite a few manufacturers. So if you have any questions, check out, you know, your manufacturer's information, wherever they have that, like I said, online. And don't hesitate to call them. They'll answer any questions if you have them. So I hope this kind of helps out. Hopefully it'll kind of eliminate that corner creep that happens on some of the molds. And hopefully it'll get you better results, especially on your smaller pours. I just find that it tends to work better when I heat these guys up. So if this is your first time on my channel, we do all kinds of resin casting projects, tips and tricks, and experiments around here. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified when new videos get posted. And if you're thinking about getting into resin casting, but you're not really sure where to begin, check out my ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Resin Casting. It answers all those beginner questions like, what do I need to get started? What kind of resin should I use? That kind of stuff. It'll kind of help you get over that initial learning curve so you can get into your shop and start casting faster. It's available on my website if you're interested in that. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.